depending upon the size of it and the spread. Some just go, say, in 300.
You're tuned into Leadership Beyond Burnout, where we encourage you and your organizations to heal, lead, and succeed. I'm your host, Dr. Kimberly L. Wilson, and I want to welcome back all of my fired up friends. And if you're new here, make sure that you listen up for some of these actionable steps and challenges to integrate into your workplace and into your life. During the show, you can feel free to send questions to us or our guests, and you can connect with us at drkimberlywilson.com. This episode today is going to be sponsored by Leadership and Resilience Consultants, and the mission is to create healthy workplace cultures while addressing burnout and removing barriers to psychologically safe workplaces, and to recover from and prevent burnout. Today's guest, without further ado, is Andrea Bailey Tweed. She spent decades of her life in radio and television broadcasting, followed by a high-intensity career as a top-level communications professional within the United States government. During that time, she suffered a major health crisis, which not only ended her career, but her health took a major downward spiral. Years of countless doctor visits, surgeries, medications, they were all unsuccessful as her health continued to deteriorate. Before completely giving up, she decided to take charge of her own destiny and health. She employed the power of aromatherapy and experienced phenomenal results. The use of essential oils not only helped her restore her health, but helped her settle into herself and make peace within her life. Today, she's a certified aromatherapist and founder of Earth's Own Essentials, LLC. Her goal is to empower people to be proactive in their healthcare and to educate people on how aromatherapy can help improve your overall wellness. And without further ado, let's bring on.
Hello. Hi, Dr. Kimberly. How are you today?
I am doing well. I'm excited for you to be here. And as we get started, I'd love for you to share how you bring healing to the world.
Well, I'm grateful for you having me on here. Thank you for that. I like to spread healing through aromatherapy and flower essences. I went through, as you explained, quite a tragic health situation, health crisis in my life. And although I had grown up with natural health care and trying to do all those things healthy, things happen, things that you don't predict. And even though everything that you may be doing right, sometimes things happen. And in the course of that, it came to a point of, do you give up? Do you give into this, which was a part of mine, or do you kick into a gear that you didn't even know that you had, and you fight like heck to come out of it? And I did the fighting like heck. I'm on the other side. I'm grateful. And I went on to school to make sure for those many thousands of people out there, or hundreds of thousands, who are suffering from chronic pain or illnesses or mental health conditions, that there is someone there who can help them, because you can get lost in the medical situations and the medical hospitals, doctors, all of that. It just you can get lost and become a persona unimportant, and sometimes you have to take your own health care into your own hands.
Wow. So you literally took your own health care into your hands, not because I think when most people think of taking health care into your own hands, they think about advocating with the doctor and the nurse, getting a second opinion, maybe even a third opinion, but you took your health.
Yes. I had to. With anything minus musculoskeletal and other conditions that were onset by medications that I was in. But when you find that you're dealing in the healthcare system, it's about medicine. It's about prescription pills and or surgeries, and that doesn't always work. I went through multiple surgeries, and after several bad turns after surgeries, and trying to get the doctors to listen to me,
Mm,
I they gave up on me. Actually, they wanted to put me in long-term care and say goodbye. You're out of our hair. And
wow. Really?
yes, they actually sent me home out of the hospital prior to the last surgery that they had prepared, because I had questions, because I did not accept the standard operating procedures, because I had experienced enough that I knew that it wasn't working. And the more I tried to explain that, to tell them, well, these pills are causing adverse conditions in my body, and they want to give me another pill to counteract what that pill was doing.
Right.
And I had to stop. It was a for me a come to Jesus moment. I had grown up with a grandmother who was Cherokee, who was into herbs and making oils and all kinds of concoctions that as a
Mhm.
child sometimes you ran from, because they didn't particularly taste good at all, but they always made you feel better. And when I got to the point that I had no more hope,
Okay.
and when you give up hope, um, I got down on my knees, I prayed. And that night, I had a vision of my grandmother coming to me and reminding me of the natural ways that she would support us in our healthcare when we were young. And so the next morning, I told my husband about it, because he said just I looked different when he got me up to get me ready. And I told him, and I said, I just stood in the kitchen all night long brewing with my grandmother. And I think that she was telling me that there's something that I can do to help. And he highly encouraged it. And I told him the root,
Because it was hard to see you like that, I'm sure.
oh, it was traumatic for all of us. They were looking at me as though I was dying. I was
Mm,
unable to get up and care for myself. Um, I'm there trying to be strong for them,
right.
which causes a lot of emotional and psychological concerns and things anyway. So all of us were putting on a facade, trying to survive and
Mhm.
not knowing exactly what to do. My husband is a great man. I love him very much, and it was beyond his hands. He didn't know how to take care of me.
Right.
Um, my sons are out of the home, and they would come back and forth, but they didn't know how to make me better either. And you go to the sources that you trusted or believed were supposed to do that, and that let me down too. So um, I said, well, this is going to be very expensive. And he said, is it more expensive than the 7 surgeries you've had? And of course,
Wow.
anybody with common sense can realize that that was absolutely no. And so I did. I ordered tons of books and probably every oil in the book. I really went overboard, but I became a perpetual student and I studied everything. And then I also signed up for school to become a certified aromatherapist as I was doing this. And initially, my first batch of oils probably was nothing that I would even recommend to someone now, but it worked. Uh,
Mm.
Within a month, I had feeling restored to the majority of my body, where I could get someone like a chiropractor who happened to be a very good friend of mine and a massage therapist who had worked with the U.S. Olympic team to come in and help bring what I was calling a dead body back to life. And over the course of a year and a lot of bad words and pain and putting forth more effort than I ever knew would be possible. But today, I can get up, I can jump, I can run a little bit, but I can work out and I can do things. And I believe because one of the things that most people don't understand is those same medicines that Big Pharma are, or those same plants and oils that they're using in Big Pharma come from nature. What happens that makes its difference as essential oils may work slower, they may take time because you're not mass feeding them into your body like you would pharmaceutical medications. However, oils go into your body and they come out and they don't do any damage along the way. With
Mm.
pharmaceutical medicines, you may take these same oils or plants and plant extracts, but when you use chemicals to alter the DNA, then it becomes something that is not natural. And that alteration of the DNA is what causes side effects within us.
Mm. Okay, so you answered the question that I was actually going to ask, because I know there are some people who are listening and are feeling very skeptical and like, oh, this sounds very woo woo. This sounds very
Oh,
out there.
yes,
And so
witch
I love that you.
doctory, alchemy. You know, these oils and herbs and plants in the Bible, it says that all provision was made. Okay. Thousands of years ago, across all cultures, these plants were used medicinally, spiritually, and in embalming situations. So the only difference is where now people run to big pharma. There are there is a lesser information about it. I don't really see it as competitive. I
Okay,
see it as making a choice about how you want your health care to be.
so
And
you
for
see it as
me,
an option.
yes, it's not going to hurt you, which is a wonderful thing. If you're speaking with a clinical or certified aromatherapist who has actually gone to school, we are trained. If you are taking medication, i.e., blood thinners or medicine for your liver, your kidneys, or your heart, there are oils that still can support you. uh, Oils for cholesterol, oils for headache. God, any psychological, mental healthcare issue. Now, that doesn't mean that it's going to stop you from needing medical care.
Mm.
We are not an alternative to medical care. We cannot diagnose, but we can support healthcare issues. So, at some point in time, and many major medical facilities have now begun research into using essential oils post or pre surgery, or in dental work, or understanding even in research how plant materials and plant essences, which is what these essential oils are, actually can sometimes support a situation without the need for those heavy medications.
So I'm very curious, and I'd love for you to share with the audience if they just wanted to say they're not ready for a certified aromatherapist yet, but they want to dabble in oils to see maybe I should go further with a certified aromatherapist, especially for those experiencing burnout. Is there something that you would recommend to decrease stress
Just
that
the
might be?
simple, the basics. Absolutely. Absolutely. Essential oils can start at the bottom. They can just be used for freshening the house. But
Mm,
each essential oil has therapeutic and clinical benefits to it. It's the chemical constituents that's within the oil, not the actual scent that works on your body. So even say if you just came home from work and you are having a really ick kind of day, one of the most user-friendly essential oils is lavender. Everybody has heard of lavender essential oils, and it is 100% user-friendly. It works as on calming and relaxing effects. It helps reduce stress and anxiety. There are oils that you can use and just put into spray by diffusing. And although you think you may be just freshening the air, you can be lightening your mood. Grapefruit and citrus oils are fabulous. Lime, oh my gosh, it's like heaven just opening the bottle and smelling. Grapefruit reduces stress, it improves your mood, it helps with depression and anxiety, helps overall emotional well being. You can use rosemary, which is also great on helping bring into focus or helping to ground you and to
what was
help.
that one again?
Rosemary.
Rosemary. Okay.
Yes, and anybody can walk out into their garden and plant a rosemary flower, or go to the grocery store and buy it. It's not quite the same, but if you put it just in a pot and you boil fresh rosemary, you'll see the little film that accumulates at the top of the water. That's the essential oil in it. Okay,
Hmm.
it's not by any means going to be as potent or whatever, but it does great for burnout. It's stimulating, it invigorates your mind, it kicks in and helps you trigger thought and memory. Roman chamomile
Mm.
is soothing and calming for you. It helps. Peppermint helps combat fatigue. You come in at the end of the day and you're burnt out, and most of us still have that. I've got more to do. I've got more to do. I've been running all day long. I still have this work on my mind, but even though I'm
Right.
home, I can't change gears. You know, Eucalyptus, and my all time favorite for everything is frankincense.
Hmm.
I'm like, if it's good enough for Jesus, it's good enough for me. But there are so many. It relieves pain. It's mentally stimulating. It takes stress off of you. It's calming and helps improve mental clarity. There are so many basic, just start essential oils. The basics again would be lavender, orange, or any citrus, peppermint, eucalyptus, and tea tree. Tea tree is antibiotic, antimicrobial. It works on skin and cuts. So no matter what you use, there's always 4, 5, or 6 other benefits that are going to come just from you using it to clear your head and unwind at the end of a day.
Beautiful. Now, is there a difference? Because I know that there are different ways to either ingest to have it topical on certain areas of your body and mists and all of that you talked about. If someone is just beginning to experiment, I know you mentioned the mist. eh, What ways? Well, I want to know what you would do for that very high powered executive in the television and broadcast industry. If you were to go through your day and start, how
And
would
say,
you
hey,
have
you
used
need
them back
help.
then?
Okay, first off, I am going to say no, no, no to any user on your in your atmosphere. for ingesting essential oils. That is something that only a certified aromatherapist or clinical aromatherapist would do, and here's why.
Okay.
When you catch a cold, I'm going to use Theraflu because that's what my husband drinks. And I do mean drink. Okay, so you get this little bitty cap on it, right? And that little bitty cap says fill halfway full. And how many people have you ever met, unless you're doing it for your child, have ever taken the half dose or not even taken the bottle and swigged, okay?
Mm-hmm.
With essential oils, less is more,
Mm.
more is not better,
Okay.
okay? Secondly,
So there's a therapeutic dose.
correct,
Okay.
okay? Inside your body, we're all made of fibrous mucous membranes. On every essential oil bottle, the first warning you will see is do not apply to eyes and mucous membranes. Taking too much or taking certain essential oils internally, even something as simple as peppermint, might not bother you, Kimberly,
Mm-hmm.
but it might take me and destroy my stomach, my digestive system, and everything else. So,
Wow.
what we recommend, the easiest and best way for me as topical application. Okay, we combine the essential oil or oils and make a blend or a neat oil and add it to a carrier. The carrier helps it absorb into your skin without burning or causing distress to your skin. And then it absorbs quickly into your bloodstream, makes its way through your body a couple times, and then you eliminate it.
Well, now
Next,
we're going to have to back up because some people don't know what a carrier is and that it's an oil. So you may need to
carrier is a
explain.
vegetable oil like argan oil, jojoba oil, um,
Almond.
coconut, sweet almond, hemp seed oil. All of those are called considered vegetable oils. You would not use the Crisco vegetable oil, but you can use starting with olive oil, which is excellent for the skin and excellent for absorption, all through the other list of oils. Okay. And for general conversation, since people are listening, that would be like 2 drops to a tablespoon of carrier oil, of the jojoba or the argan or the coconut oil or even just plain olive oil, and rub it into your skin.
Mm.
Okay. You can diffuse. With diffusing, and you're putting a little bit of oils into a large open space. Dogs are easier to have in the room than cats. Some cats, their liver cannot deal with that.
Oh.
As long as you have an open room, most animals have enough intellect of their own that if it's too much, they'll leave the room. But say you have fish and you don't have a covered top or a bird in your home, diffusing might not be a good answer. If you have a private room, your bedroom, and you diffuse, fine. But with diffusing, unless you're just scenting the air or making the mood for, say, a party or something like that, um, you have to be in the room to inhale it for you to reap the benefit of it.
Okay.
Okay. Next to that, there are inhalers like the old Vicks inhalers that you would use in your nose that would go direct through the olfactory to the brain,
Mm-hmm.
which is the most direct route. Um, you can bathe, take with some oils. Some oils, like peppermint, you would not want to put into a bathtub, and I'm sure you can imagine why.
Oh,
so,
that just sounds painful.
so there are ways, many ways you can do castor oil packs. Say if you have digestive concerns where you just rub it in and put it on your belly with the heat pack. Those are reasons why when you're first starting, other than diffusing or topical, even if you're not looking for specific blends or an aromatherapist to make you something, just to
Could you
consult and
repeat
find
that to
out.
me for a second? Because there was some audio disturbance. I'm so
uh,
sorry.
Repeat, where was I
Uh, and that's what I actually couldn't hear.
at?
I think it started at the Castrol packs, is what I heard.
Castor oil packs.
Mhm.
So that is another way in which you can, if you say have digestive problems, that would be a simple way for a novice, a new person, to start using oils. It's not difficult to use oils. It doesn't take rocket science. What comes in, where we come into play, is if you were to come to me and have a health condition, or a child who has a sports injury that you don't want on medication, or you or your child might have a hard time focusing, not particularly because you have um, mental health conditions, just because of the way society is now. There's so much going on. They're tuned
True.
into the cell phone. They need to unwind. You can't sleep at night. Then you could put it into a diffuser. So diffusing and topical blends would be the two most user friendly ways, unless there's something specific, like you need foot soaks for athlete's foot, or certain baths, sitz baths for blisters and things like that.
And can I get some clarity just so when you say diffusing, is that the sticks or is that a mist?
Okay, it's a portable machine. You fill it with a water well, and you put, depending upon the size of it and the spread, some just go, say, in 300 degrees around, and some can spread up to 1,000 square feet or more. So depending upon the size of the diffuser, it's a plug-in. Most of them are really pretty and decorative now. You can go from inexpensive, say 19.99, to several
Mhm.
$100s for them,
Okay.
and they disperse fine microbial bits of mist into the air,
Okay.
and they can run from anywhere from a period of 2 hours to 8 hours.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much for clearing that up. I
Oh,
said
well,
if I'm confused, someone else might be confused.
I appreciate that. I talk to it, and because I know it, I love it, and I do it all the time. And sometimes I forget that there's someone who does not really understand. So I appreciate that. We have to
I'm
start with the basics.
right. I'm really curious what if you went back to the doctors
Mhm.
that said there was nothing else to do for you, and what their response
There, there are several doctors who are absolutely amazed, and one who won't even talk to me. Actually, the only, out of all of the surgeons and all of the practitioners that I saw, really the only one, two, who have accepted um, that I come to them for maintenance, or to get my MRIs and X-rays and make sure that everything is still fine, are my medical doctor, my MD, who has been my doctor for probably 25 years, and knows that I have always delved in oils and herbs, and actually respects that. And then one of my orthopedic specialists, who, unfortunately, in the case of having himself gone through a bad health scare,
right.
and to appreciate alternative medicine too.
Yeah, there's so many branches to alternative medicine that we're beginning to learn about. And I said beginning to learn about, and I want to correct myself almost immediately, but it's the old things that are becoming
Becoming new
new again.
again. Yes, yes.
Like 70s pants.
Exactly. And the big gauchos. I've been watching that too. People, life comes around full circle. One of the benefits, not one, there are so many benefits to it. But say, for example, you're a mother and you've got three kids in elementary school.
Mm,
Children don't particularly need essential oils, okay, because their systems are young, and they fight back, and essential oils are highly concentrated. So we would use other things, like, other than the basics, the lavender, the orange, the things that are can't be harmful. There are hydrosols, the sprays, the waters that these oils are processed in that you can use in support of a child because it doesn't have so much. But
Ah, so it needs to be more diluted for children.
yes, yes, you can fight colds and flu and viruses, and there's no antiviral in pharmaceutical medicine.
Mm.
There is in essential oils. There are things that you can do for stomach problems that are simple by just rubbing in oil over your belly as opposed to taking Tums or all these prescription medicines all day long every day. And with the cost of medicine, it can be simplified. You're simplifying your life. This costs nowhere near the cost of a regular doctor visit. If you
So
have insurance, I go to see my doctor. I have a $30 copay. For most people, that $30 copay, if you came in and you had a cold, would buy you a bottle of essential oils or an essential oil blend that's going to last you for several months
mm.
and get you better. Okay?
So I'm really curious as well about the different. I've noticed that there are different brands that say, "Oh, we're clinical grade," and some are extremely expensive, and some like you can get in Walmart, and there, I can see the eyes like, oh,
Okay. When you buy in bulk, when you buy real oils, you pay for the real deal.
mm,
Essential oils go through a lot of processing to yield very little. It takes about 75 pounds of lavender, one of the most available essential oils, to yield 1 kilo, 16 ounces, a little more than 16 ounces of oil. For rose essential oil, which costs over $1,000 for an ounce, it takes 250,000 pounds of rose petals.
wow,
So
that's amazing.
concentrated. Oh yes, one drop can actually get you inebriated. So in that scope of things, pure oils you're going to see a price tag on. Tea tree, lavender, lemon, orange, they're going to be, for a 5 milliliter bottle, anywhere from $5.99 to $14.99. What you find in Walmart is a carrier oil with a drop of oil in it. What you find on some of these websites talking about you can buy frankincense for $14.99. Frankincense is an endangered species.
Mm.
Okay. So if you are getting it for $14.99 in a bottle, say, can you see this? A
Uh,
roll on. Okay.
Over just a little bit. Yes.
Okay. The size, this is a 10 milliliter bottle. This is not going to be 10 milliliters of essential oil. It's going to be a carrier oil, the vegetable that helps it absorb into your skin, with up to 7 or 8 drops in it.
Mm.
So, therefore, the most people use therapeutic grade or food quality, meaning that it is and can be used clinically as well as for those who ingest. Ingestion is something that Europeans did in the beginning that is totally not oral.
Mm.
Okay. There are now capsules and things that are made other ways that as you go up that step ladder. Um, but you don't have to be that extreme. Okay.
So if you're not buying, like you said, the food grade or the did you say
Therapeutic quality.
pharmaceutical or clinical grade, then
Mhm.
you're just playing around.
Yeah. Yeah. And you don't know what it's dilated with or if that's actually the original oil.
Mm.
When we, or when I, and most aromatherapists or distillers purchase, we have reports called GCMS, gas chromatography mass spectrometry, that prints out all the elements, the chemical constituents, and the chemical families and what percentages they are in the oils. These aren't things that everybody would be able to look at and know. We are studied and trained to understand what we're purchasing, to understand the smell, the color, the chemistry of the oil, so that as I am treating and supporting people, I can guarantee that I am putting the bulk of what I do as a business person into buying the best quality oil that I can, because it's going to show in the end.
Oh wow. Okay. So that's I think that's so very helpful for those who possibly may have tried essential oils and then they're like, "Oh, this doesn't really do
Yeah.
anything. It doesn't really work."
Mhm.
And now you've given the answer to why it may not have had the desired effect.
I would not waste my time going into any drugstore and picking up a $5.99 bottle of what they call essential oils. It's not. It just isn't. Okay. On some of the Facebook posts, I'm not going to name the company, but
I
they
think I
do.
know, but I'm not going to
They
say it.
kind of do like I showed you with that little bottle just then, and says, "Oh, this is frankincense for 15.99." And no, it might have a drop or two of frankincense in it, but
Mhm.
when you get that bottle and you look at that label, it's going to tell you in something.
And correct me if I'm wrong. I'm making an assumption here. This is not based on any knowledge. I'm assuming that aromatherapy is not something that's regulated by the FDA per se, so that companies can make claims about this is frankincense or this is that, and there's no particular standard that makes them have to have a certain amount, or
That's kind of a long answer. I'll start with reputable companies. Reputable companies do have standards. We have associations and organizations nationally and internationally that has that overall rule. IFRA, the International Fragrance Association, will legislate the amounts safely that can be put into products.
Mhm.
We have Goldgemma, which talks about allergen reports and percentages that are allowed in it. Most blending and topical products, creams, lotions, have established ways that they are supposed to be done. But this
Okay.
comes from going to school and studying. This comes from distillers who have farms who actually know that they have to meet those standards. Some people, some businesses don't care.
Mm.
Those aren't usually licensed professionals or people who carry certifications behind their names. For me, for people that I deal with in my industry, we have the Alliance of International Aromatherapists. We have the National Association for Holistic Aromatherapy. We have the International Council of Aromatherapy, the International Clinical Aromatherapy Network. So there are legislative bodies that work with people who have actually gone into the business ethically.
Okay. All right. Now, is there do essential oils help relationally in any way? Uh, I, I'm just
Person
curious.
to person?
Well, yes. So if you're in a relationship and one person is irritable and another person is
Absolutely.
absent-minded, can is that something you do like couples
Absolutely.
aromatherapy?
There are oils that will address everything from this is G rated sexual problems
Hmm.
between couples, people who, excuse me, have anger issues or a lot of couples that after you've been together for a while, you may find that it's difficult to continue communicating. There's distance between you. I have an oil for that. There's an, there,
There's an
there,
instead of
there's
there's an
an
app,
oil
there's
for
an
that.
oil for that.
Yeah. So most things that people wouldn't think of. Yes, frigidity, women's menstrual problems,
Mhm.
cycle problems, irritability, problems with um, hormones and middle age, menopause, you name it, there's something that can be done to support it. We do palliative care, we do hospice care,
Mhm.
um, musculoskeletal conditions. I'm looking at some of the books that I have. Anything that deals with asthma or the respiratory systems are excellent, excellent oils for. You know, some of them actually, again, that would be one that if a person bought on their own and just said, "Oh, I'm going to go and I'm going to get some eucalyptus," you would start at the lowest possible dose you can.
Okay.
Some oils, and particularly, again, if children are in the room, you might have a 12-year-old who's spindly and weighs 62 pounds, and you may have a 12-year-old that weighs 160 pounds. Okay.
Right.
So their bodies are a lot more in tune to the elder adult body. So that's why a lot of times just to call and get ask a question doesn't hurt. Some people charge for all of that. I have a website. I'm not trying to sell right here, but always you can just shoot an email and ask a question, because I would like people to understand how user friendly and how easy it is to take your health care into your own hands. Okay.
So it
The
do the
simple,
oils go ahead. I'm sorry.
well, the simple things. And in my effort to do that, I'm open to people calling and asking questions, because that's the only way we're going to do it. COVID shut us down, and
Mhm.
people are still not going out and responding or interacting like they used to. So whatever medium I have to say that there's a better way to do some things, it's not going to, again, keep some situations under control, but for the general part, for general everyday lifestyles, cuts, bruises, things like that, we've got something that can be used. Poison ivy, bug bites.
So on some of the more chronic or serious things, is are essential oils restorative and curative, or is that something that needs regular dosing,
I
say
would
like
say
asthma?
there are some things that are curative.
Mhm.
There are some that would need regular maintenance. However, where, say, for if you were chronic asthma and we begin a support program over time, because the oils are rebuilding the cells, oils work down to a cellular level.
Okay.
Because they are rebuilding cells in your body, say a year from now, you may not need that oil every day. You may use it only in the springtime, or when it's raining real heavy, or in the fall when the seasons are changing, as a support, as a supplement to back it up. But all day long, every day, no.
Thank you. And if someone wanted to go to an aromatherapist, but they don't know what they're looking for, how do you separate the wheat from the chaff, so to speak? How do you determine what is a certified aromatherapist versus someone who's just dabbling and might have you sick?
Certified aromatherapists have certifications, and we might not necessarily have it on our wall, but you can ask, can we see it?
Okay.
You can, on my website, you'll see that I'm a member of NAHA, AIA, ICANN, and many, many other organizations that you have to be. And with a certification of that capacity, just like a doctor, you have ongoing training. So every year, every month, I am taking additional courses, additional trainings to continue my understanding and practice.
Mm. when is it similar to like a doctor, meaning that I'm imagining that if I came to you as a certified aromatherapist, that you wouldn't just say, "Oh, you have what? Take this." That there's probably you get
Oh,
some
there's an intake.
history.
Yes, there's definitely an intake, and we do. Again, I most of us are trained to. I will say it that way. I have an intake form. Okay, if I am talking to someone with the benefit of the internet and social media, I don't have to see you live. Okay, we can talk just like you and I are talking. We can Zoom, we can make phone calls, but I send to you or have you fill out an intake form, just like a medical form. What medicines are you taking so that I can make sure that no oil that I use, say you have hypertension, but I don't use an oil like a basil, and you have you're taking blood thinners.
Mm,
So I don't want to give you something that's going to be an anticoagulant or have anticoagulant properties. Those things I know because, again, we've studied to that level that we know the chemical composition of the oils that we're using. Once you tell me, hey, I've been having headaches, doctor says I don't have a brain tumor, I'm not this, he says it's stress, can you help me? After I review your intake form, then I'm going to address the whole of the person. I'm going to talk to you about your work. I'm going to talk to you about your family members, or I'm going to inquire. You know, sometimes people still are hesitant. No one wants to say, I have an abusive husband, or,
mhm.
my kids are driving me nuts, or these things are going on. Not on the first
I say that
conversation.
every day.
Me too. But when I'm listening to you and I get kind of like you said, you can get a person to open up and talk to you. And they may say, like, oh, and when I use my CPAP at night, well, you don't have that you take a CPAP on this form. Oh, I forgot. But as I build that relationship with you, as I see what you have, I'm asking you questions. I'm asking you, do you take your medicine regularly? How do you feel when you take your medicine? Does this medicine cause constipation, which most medicines do? So I'm going to start with that. Does it
Mhm.
cause digestive disorders? Because and what is your overall state of mind? Are you depressed?
Mhm.
Because if I'm helping you with the chronic stomach problems and your asthma and you're depressed, all these things, it's body, mind, and spirit. Okay, we're not witch doctors. We are actually using the skills and the knowledge we have to help support a person, as most old medical doctors used to do
Okay.
before you went running on a regular basis to the clinic to be checked.
Yeah. Before it became highly commercialized and
Yes,
became a
and very
factory,
expensive, and a part of the pharmaceutical
industrial
situation.
complex.
Yes, yes. And I still, if I had to, I mean, I am not talking against doctors. I am not
Right.
talking against medicine. If we all work together as a group, it would be fantastic. You know, a few decades ago, chiropractic was the same thing. They were blackballed. They were, oh, they'll break your bones. They'll do all this harm to you. They'll do, they can do damage to you. Well, now before you have any kind of surgery, the orthopedic is going to ask you, have you been to see a chiropractor? What is the
Mhm.
chiropractor saying? And sometimes your insurance is going to have to ask them for their report for you to be able to get approved for surgery. In places like the Mayo Clinic, Cleveland Clinic, some hospitals, I'm trying to help here in Columbus us get to that point, are
The
actually
VA.
working with clinical aromatherapists to actually help with some of the situations, to help people get off of their drug addictions or their smoking addictions or all of that. And there's an oil for that.
So if I were a hospital CEO or I was managing a clinic and I want to begin to bring in or dabble with certified aromatherapists, would they go to one of those organizations you mentioned that you're certified?
They could, and because many of us are in directories. So if there is a hospital here in Ohio that wanted to work with me, the Cleveland Clinic, they can either find me on one of those directories, or if they hear about me through here, and we can set it up that we could communicate and do research projects together. I do research for different situations and clients all the time.
Beautiful. Is there now, Andrea, you've been such a wealth of information. Is there anything that you would like to challenge the audience with personally or professionally to help them feel better and heal?
First, I'd like to say that burnout is kind of a common everyday affair with people anymore, just based on the way the world is and how the status of our lives have changed drastically in the last few years. Depression runs rampant. Even with all the electronics and the things we have, there's not enough time for a person to do all those things. I challenge you to make it a point, you, your family, your spouse, your mate, to every day put that phone down an hour and a half before you go to bed. Watch how much better you start sleeping. Watch how much better your relationships become because you're communicating again. You're taking the time to talk to each other. You're involving yourself in each other's lives. And then take it a little further. Start with an essential oil starter pack. Again, orange, lavender, eucalyptus, peppermint, and tea tree. Mix a few of them together in a cheap, you can buy a diffuser. You can get one off my website, or you can you can buy one in the store. And just start putting those scents into the air.
Mhm.
Your brain is full of millions of sensors that react. And if you're using the right one, within days, you'll notice a difference. I challenge you to try that. Put those electronics down. I have been doing it and I am so grateful for it. One of the other things that helped me do that is I travel once a year on a study tour to some part of Africa on essential oils, meeting distillers, learning more about products. And usually, I don't care what phone I have problems with the phone. And I finally get so frustrated, I turn it off. And when I get back, I'm so renewed. I don't want to turn back on this confusion.
Right.
It's really something I have to like de-stress about. It's like, oh, I'm coming back into this, and but try it. It'll work wonders in your life.
Thank you so very much for sharing all your wisdom and issuing this challenge. It's absolutely something that I always recommend people do when they have sleep problems. Put that phone down. So uh, I really appreciate everything you shared today.
I thank you for having me. I really do.
Right, until next time. Everyone, you've been watching Leadership Beyond Burnout. I'm your host, Dr. Kimberly L. Wilson. You can find us here every Thursday at 12 p.m., at 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time and 2 p.m. Pacific Time. Until next time, we'll see you next week.